all of our friends at ASTA for providing this forum for you and for me. I have been fortunate throughout my many years in the travel industry to have worked side by side with groundbreaking, cutting-edge, worldly travel advisors. My earliest years in the business were in an agency that exemplified luxury travel at every turn. It's a remarkable, rewarding, and deeply satisfying career, and it's available to those who choose luxury as a specific way of designing vacations as well. So we're going to take some time to define luxury in a 21st century way. But before we do that specifically, my way of sharing what you need to consider as a luxury travel advisor is to take you on a little bit of a journey that I have taken by, or that I have seen taken by the most successful luxury advisors in our industry. So my intention today is to draw a picture of not only what these advisors do, some of how they do it, and very importantly, why they do it. So I'll break down today's talk into these key subject areas. Passion and talents as a point of entry. We'll talk about that definition of luxury travel for today's travelers, and 4 key distinctions: competency and mastery, transactional selling and relationship, agent and advisor, and product and product. I wonder what that means. And by the end, I hope you'll have a sense of what's involved and whether this is a path you might choose to take. So let's start at the beginning. When we, and all those luxury travel advisors out there, began our work as travel agents, quite likely we did so by combining together passion and natural talents. Now the passion, for most of us, that was pretty obvious. We love to travel, and we couldn't help ourselves. We just had to find a way to share that enthusiasm for the world, the cultures, the wildlife, the magnitude of, Earth's physical beauties. But the talents, that might have been a head for business, a talent for organizing complicated, multifaceted projects, like maybe your own family vacations, a talent for being with, talking to, relating to people. Maybe it was a talent for marketing, or a talent for and a desire to be a self-directed and motivated entrepreneur, or in working for one. And those 2 talents, passion and our natural kind of God-given talents, plus a good basic course like the ASTA Becoming a Travel Agent, can get us quite a way down the road as a travel agent. Because we layer on data, we layer on information, the knowledge that's required to actually do the job. And the job that, by the way, we found out very quickly was much more complicated than we thought. But given time, we can become quite competent at handling pretty much whatever travelers throw our way. But being competent is not enough for the best of the best. So it is here that the career roads start diverging. It is a divergence between competency and practice in the pursuit of mastery. It's a divergence between transactional selling and lifelong relationship building. It's a divergence between being a travel agent and being a professional travel advisor. And there's a divergence between destinations, cruises, tours, and hotels as the product, and the values and value exemplified by a professional as the product. When I speak about these diverging paths, I am in fact reminded of the Robert Frost poem, which I know many of you know, called The Road Not Taken. 2 roads diverged in a yellow wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. So a little poetic aside here, we're going to explore these paths because they are what has luxury travel advisors live and operate in a way different from most. So let's define luxury travel. This is, after all, a conversation about being a luxury travel advisor. Luxury is often equated to extravagance, very high-end, expensive, 5-star or 6-diamond, lavish, opulent. And in some cases, that is true. Maybe in many cases, that's true. Luxury can live in the realm of dollar signs, but it's much more than that. Virtuoso, the global network of luxury travel agencies with whom I work, sees luxury through the lenses of their upscale travelers. Virtuoso's Lux Report, which is available to everyone, it's an annual Lux Report, offers a window into the interest and buying trends of these upscale travelers. And what has been happening for several years has redefined luxury travel. In 2017, luxury travel is traveling to destinations with a sense of urgency, either places that are in the throes of changing rapidly, like Cuba, or the Arctic with its melting glaciers and therefore endangered wildlife and way of life, or visiting Hawaii's island of Lanai before it gains more popularity. Luxury is active journeys, whether swimming with whale sharks in Australia or ever more unique and unusual experiences one can have in Africa, or the extraordinary remote lodges that dot some of the most unique landscapes in the world, from Namibia to Newfoundland to the Sacred Valley of Peru to helicopter-accessible 4-room lodges deep in the wilderness of New Zealand. These afford opportunities to get out and get active on foot, on horseback, on skis, with scuba, on bikes, and on e-bikes. Luxury is also over-the-top exclusive experiences. It's personal guides, it's private jets, it's exclusive use of villas in prime destinations or on private islands. Luxury is savoring the flavors and eating like a local, cooking classes, perusing markets, hunts for truffles, private in-home dining experiences. Luxury in 2017 is a private viewing of a private art collection in a private home with the artist and the collector. And luxury, more than ever, is time with the family, with friends, with whomever we hold dear. Lots of different definitions. For the luxury travel advisor, all these definitions have one thing in common that is not explicit in the definitions I just described. Luxury is the unique customization of the interests, abilities, and destinations that luxury clients desire. At whatever price point, and I emphasize that, whatever price point, the luxury is customization, it's personalization, it's bespoke, it's standalone. And for that reason, luxury travel advisors don't shop the commodity aisles. They stay away from the packaged goods. They don't shop the mall. They get their contacts and their ideas directly from the designers. They foster personal relationships with their supplier partners and work with them not as contracted vendors, but as personal extensions of their name, reputation, and creativity. How they do this circles us back to those diverging roads, those diverging paths. The divergence of competency and practice in the pursuit of mastery. The first goal when one starts any new endeavor is to become competent, having the necessary ability, knowledge, and skill to do whatever it is successfully. It's being capable. And that's the first goal of any travel agent. And there are thousands and thousands of very competent and very capable travel agents. But the super advisors aren't content to be capable and competent. They seek the training and the trainers to support their vision of working at the very highest level of their profession. It begins with a goal, a vision. Luxury travel advisors see themselves differently, and they're not afraid to be different. They want to be on the road less traveled. It is there that they see opportunity. The road itself is different for every advisor. There are luxury advisors who focus their energies on family travel, some on yachting, some focus on the world's most remote regions. Now, that's not to say that's all they sell, not at all. But they focus on developing muscle in specialized areas that are in service to their vision. So the vision is always out there. The result is that they begin to attract the types of clients who share that enthusiasm. Let me give you an example. A luxury advisor I work with closely and have for several years sells a minimum of $1 million annually in active and adventure travel. That's pretty specific. And then sells another couple million in other types of travel. She set herself up early in her career as a luxury adventure travel advisor. And that's how she marketed herself. That's what she talked about. And no matter what a client might come in asking for, she would always bring up a luxurious, adventurous option. It's what she personally loves. And guess what? It started attracting clients who felt the same way. The only way beyond capable and competent is practice. Now, practice for many is years in the business or experience with different situations, and those will definitely improve one's capabilities. But there's another kind of practice. It's called deliberate practice. And it's this type of practice, the continual, conscious pursuit of mastery, that our best luxury travel advisors engage in. They undertake this kind of practice for the sole purpose of improving performance. They continually assess and refine their own personal techniques, smooth out their own flaws. They integrate new approaches and relish being pushed beyond what one might think possible. Think of it like going to the gym and working out. We all know this one. In the gym, you can jump on the treadmill or pick up some weights and put in your time. Watch a little TV, work up a good sweat, and be done. And that's good. And it is good. But you can also go to the gym and maybe once a month or a few times a year, hire a trainer to work with you, to help you maximize your workouts, to correct how you're lifting the weights so that you actually maximize your efforts. That's the difference between practice and deliberate practice. And you get very different results. Let me give you some examples of deliberate practice. Luxury advisors, or deliberate practice as we're defining it here today, not in the gym, all right? Luxury advisors seek out and they affiliate with agencies that share their vision, their attitude, and their style. They will not, at least not for very long, affiliate with an organization that does not support their goals, nor offer the kind of network and collaboration to help them fulfill on those goals. I think this fits into the category of you are known by the company you keep. The agency and their affiliations' reach become a part of a luxury advisor's practice. Now, if you're new to the business and haven't affiliated with an agency yet, I urge you to get clear about who you are and what you want, and then interview several agencies before making any decisions. Agencies come in all sizes, shapes, and styles. You want the best fit possible for your ambitions. And if it's luxury you're after, then seek out one that supports that type of travel. Luxury advisors seek out ongoing professional education because there is no end to education. Many luxury agencies require it of their advisors, and some have it as a requirement of employment. At Virtuoso, as an example, we offer a 6-month training and mentoring program called VCTA, the Virtuoso Certified Travel Advisor. It's designed for new travel advisors, new to the industry or new to Virtuoso, who seek a solid foundation upon which to build their luxury businesses. Some of our network's most successful new million-dollar advisors have come through this course. It is a professional investment of time and money that has tremendous return on investment. ASTA offers excellent ongoing education, from business integrity and ethical standards to the U.S. Travel Agency Regulatory Compliance Handbook and course, that's a mouthful, where such topics as full price disclosure and code share disclosure get discussed. These are incredibly important nuts and bolts to your business. For those on the call who are just looking at getting into the industry, ASTA has a wonderful book called Becoming a Travel Agent. It's an inexpensive investment that will put you on the right path. Lots of return on investment. The Travel Institute has courses that span almost every subject, from lifestyle courses on being a honeymoon specialist to LGBT travel to adventure. They also offer certification programs, the CTC and the CTA, the Certified Travel Consultant and the Certified Travel Associate. There are also myriad opportunities with product webinars and seminars and in-house education. Seek out what fits your goals. It's easy to get overwhelmed, so be strategic. Professional education, as a practice, gives you leverage. It enhances your credibility. Now, another important practice is that luxury travel advisors travel strategically. They seek out, or more often than not, design their own familiarizations. Remember I said they don't shop the commodity aisles? They are working with their partners as part of their practice to see priorities before they open, or see properties, I should say, before they open, to travel to destinations before others, to return to places that need revisiting, and while there, they use their local colleagues to point them in new directions. They're constantly on the lookout for private access, that special guide, that not yet discovered but soon to have their first Michelin star restaurant, and the that's impossible but so cool opportunities. Now, that's not to say they don't sometimes travel on a regular FAM if it suits their strategic need, but they are the ones that linger after dinner to get to know the general manager or slip into the kitchen to talk culinary with the executive chef. They invest in themselves by traveling with an eye to their upscale traveler, with an eye to every detail, because they are, in effect, critics. They know their clientele is relying on them to know which room in the hotel affords the best view, which table to book in the dining room. They are curators. They are looking for the undiscovered, the unusual. And by definition, a curated collection isn't everything out there. It's curated. Luxury travel advisors do not travel professionally randomly. It is with purpose. It is deliberate. Now, these advisors are in the practice of seeking out the professional travel meetings and gatherings around the world that fuel their curiosity. ILTM, Pure, LE Miami, Remote Latin America. These are names you'll get to know if you go luxury. ASTA events and expos, like the upcoming ASTA Global Convention in San Diego in August. Here's a convention that's all about being smart and savvy as a business person, learning how to protect your business. These advisors serve on the advisory boards of luxury travel brands and interesting affiliate programs like with Savour Magazine or Afar or Travel and Leisure. At Virtuoso, we have meetings that feature professional development and one-to-one meetings with partners all over the world, many times each year. Are they an investment? Yes. Do they take time? Absolutely. But at least two very important things happen at these meetings. One, you have a great opportunity to meet your supplier partners and nurture those relationships. And two, this is where private networks are formed. Advisors meet other top advisors from throughout the world who also work with upscale clientele. Out of these meetings come relationships that allow you to share information, They can text or email and ask a question, and the information is freely shared because you trust each other. Again, they are known by the company and the companies they keep. The network becomes a resource. Speaking of companies, luxury travel advisors seek out the best in class. This is a very important practice. They target their market share with their preferred partners. They want to be a recognizable fish in the pond, no matter the size of the pond. And they are not all things to all people, and they are not all things to all suppliers. Here's an example. There are a lot of biking companies out there, and it can be easy to lump them into 2 or 3 categories, sort of inexpensive, medium, and expensive. But a luxury travel advisor will break those companies and categories down further. Who is the best in the luxurious, opulent experience category? Who's the best in the hardcore 100-mile-a-day category? Who's the best in Bordeaux? Who has the best private customized biking? Who is the best with young families? Who is the best in small inns and non-starred properties category? Who is the best in self-guided? When these luxury advisors are attending these meetings, involved in this kind of education, traveling not unlike their luxury travelers, and in company with the best companies in the world, they are in company with the designers, the destination specialists themselves, the people who know their cities inside out and backwards, arguably the best in class out there. And all of this practice is this deliberate pursuit of mastery in their profession is in service to their vision of themselves and their business as luxury travel advisors. They don't just talk it, they walk it. And they aren't just lucky, they work at it. They aren't content to be capable. They practice to be masterful. Their clients expect nothing less, and their clients refer their friends, and those friends refer their friends, and so it goes. The diverging paths. Let's go back to some diverging paths. The paths between the transactional selling and relationship building and that of the work of a travel agent and that of an advisor are our next paths. These diverging paths are very closely aligned. It's more like 4 roads diverging in a yellow wood. So do you like how I made 4 paths there? That's my little artistic attempt there at 4 paths. Here I want to share with you the attributes of the best advisors, how they differentiate themselves from others, and what type of relationships they have with their customers, along with the focus that they have when they work with clients. It is very telling information. We studied this at Virtuoso and came to realize that these 4 stage areas reflect the differences between competent, capable travel agents and those of the top luxury advisors. In the chart, you see the differences between an agent and an advisor. This is adapted from the work of David Meister in his book called The Trusted Advisor. Now, don't get hung up on the terms of specialist and consultant and so on. Those are more placeholders. And I know that the terminology in our industry for decades has been that we are travel agents. I know that. But times change, and so does language. So just let this term advisor kind of marinate and sink in. So look at stage 1, the agent. The focus here is on delivering information. The type of relationship is transactional. Let's get this thing sold. And the major point of differentiation is cost. Okay? When we move up the scale a little bit, our focus becomes around solutions as a specialist here, stage 2. A relationship type isn't just transacting the business, it's problem solving. And the point of differentiation now isn't cost. It isn't who's got the cheapest thing out there. It's about knowledge. Move up a stage to consultant, focusing on new ideas, having insight and being a valuable resource to their clients. And the differentiation? Creativity. Now it isn't just what I know, but it's how can I extrapolate what I know. And finally, stage 4, the trusted advisor, the focus is on understanding. It isn't on delivering information. The relationship type is collaborative, and the point of differentiation, personal bond. Do you see that as you move from stage 1 to stage 2, 3, and 4, that each of these attributes are more rare to find? You can find cost, transaction, and information all over the internet, but you have a much harder time finding understanding or creativity or personal bond. It's like a pyramid. Stage 1 is the base of the pyramid. There's lots of it. It's very available, but it's also doesn't have the same value. But at the very tippy top, stage 4, where the view is magnificent and only a few can stand, are the rare finds. Now, great advisors cycle through all of these stages in the course of working with their clients. Of course, one has to actually transact the business, disseminate information, and speak to the costs of their services and vacations. But here's the difference. The luxury travel advisor begins their conversations with clients at stage 4. They don't work up to it. They begin there. And in order to begin at this level, the luxury advisor has learned that they must have a consistent way of conducting their business, of assessing new clients, of moving people through the complexity of planning these vacations. They have a process, and they practice each and every aspect of it. That process begins with a conversation that is not just fact-finding. They quickly take control and move that conversation from taking an order to understanding the subtleties of clients' needs. By careful questioning, they get their clients to open up about why they travel, what is the intention, because remember, their focus is on understanding. With an at least preliminary understanding of the clients themselves, they can then introduce new ideas and offer solutions to issues. And mind you, they're not giving away the details yet. They don't give away the store. They share their own beliefs about travel and why they do what they do. They connect. They begin to bond. And having gotten clear about what clients want, what the services are that the advisor offers, then they move on to agreement and commit to working together. Now, luxury advisors carefully manage their portfolio of clients and realize they cannot handle every client that comes through the door. They're not a good fit for everyone, and they simply can't handle it. If they handled everyone, they would compromise the level of service that they're able to offer their portfolio clients. So they know how to gracefully say no, and if necessary, this is when to do it. Now, after they've gotten some commitment, which very often includes a fee for their services, the advisor then can get into the fun part of designing and reserving the vacation and eventually following up with their clients. Now, a variation of this process, which we distinguished some years ago at Virtuoso, is taught to all of our advisors around the world. It's done as a standard of excellence that can be consistently applied to all advisors and all clients at whatever price point. Now, I don't want to gloss over the sharing of beliefs. People buy from those they trust. They buy from people they believe in. And they often as not will buy from someone whose values they admire or share. And the only way for a client to know what you believe about travel, what motivates you, what drives you, is to tell them. Now, maybe you believe that travel is the avenue to family memories, or that it's the greatest teacher, or a road to world peace and understanding, or that luxury is in the experiences one has that enrich the soul. Sharing one's beliefs is vulnerable, but what it actually does is open the door to authenticity, and that is powerful. Plus, great advisors ultimately want to attract clients, not just service them. A student of human interaction and an exceptional consultant, Simon Sinek, states it clearly. People don't buy what you do. They buy why you do it. Now, all of this is about creating relationship, not just a transaction. These advisors know that by starting at the top, they have a good chance of quickly establishing a bond. The client is already investing in them as their ally, their resource, their collaborator. Luxury advisors are confident in what they do and why they do it. They stand in the place of an advisor from the very beginning, each with their own style and personality. They start at the top. Now, let's look at one other divergence between product and product. Luxury advisors understand that the beautiful hotels, the yachts, the jets, the villas, the relationships around the world that give them access to these unattainable, opportunities are all tools of the trade. They know that the process through which they design and manage and monitor is simply a tool. They know that these are parts to the larger whole of who they are and what they do. They don't confuse the cost of the presidential suite with the value they bring to their clients in terms of knowledge, experience, insight, and wisdom. Price and value aren't the same thing. So says Warren Buffett, the Oracle of Omaha. To their clients, they share the status of financial planner, personal trainer, or architect. And these professionals are valued for their authenticity, their courage to challenge their clients' ideas when they aren't in the client's best interest, their willingness to take charge while honoring whatever level of involvement the client might desire. They stand with their clients as professional equals, not as their servants, but in service. So they're not servants, they are in service. The private overwater bungalow is not the product. The professional luxury travel advisor is the product. They are the brand that the client is buying. And as we know, brand is not a logo or a fancy office. A brand is a reputation. Brands live not in the catchphrase, but in the minds of the customer. So what does the customer think? I looked at some of the things that we've gathered over the years. Here's some quotes. She even knew the exact room to request to maximize the view. We had been thinking about one specific property, but because of the types of travelers we are, she guided us to another. Rather than prioritize any money you have towards gadgets and tangible things, we try to do it towards experiences and memories. Working with an advisor makes that so easy, and the return on investment is unreal. Here's one. Usually I'll do a lot of the preliminary research, and then I let my advisor step in. She'll say, here's what I think you're missing. She knows the secret places, the offbeat must-sees. They use an example of in Cape Town. The client thought, oh, we'll go to Robben Island and the nearby vineyards. And the advisor said, well, let me just suggest a wonderful little neighborhood and a tiny little hole-in-the-wall restaurant that they ended up loving. I never would have known about it, says the client. Advisors who proactively seek out and solicit real-time feedback so that they can tailor future trips for us. And each trip is tailored. Nothing is one size fits all. And one other major thing that shows up when working with an advisor is that their business is often their passion too. So you have this kind of blurred line between business and pleasure that makes the end trips so amazing. Luxury may be in the price tag for some, but luxury for today's sophisticated traveler and for today's luxury travel advisor is all in the experiences. Luxury advisors take it from the ordinary to extraordinary. The simplest request becomes an opportunity to personalize and kick it up a notch. Luxury advisors know the world, the secret doors, its unsung corners, and they definitely know their partners around the world. They travel strategically. They know their clients' travel style and consistently adhere to a process that helps them manage all the details. They challenge their clients to expand their horizons. They're always offering interesting options. They never just take an order. And these advisors are magicians. They can handle anything. It's just what they do. So now the question is this a path you would like to take? Along with Pam, we put together a couple of resources that could be helpful to you. If you're new to the industry, suggest to you the ASTA Becoming a Travel Agent at asta.org/education and a few other things there. I didn't want to put all of those on the slide here, but Becoming a Travel Agent could be a really good resource for you. attending the global convention that's coming up in August, business do's and don'ts. You'll meet a cross-section of the industry. You'll meet all the different consortiums out there. You'll meet independent advisors and host agencies, a great opportunity. There's coursework to pursue with ASTA. Some that I mentioned, the Regulatory Compliance Handbook and Course, the Business Integrity and Ethical Standards course, the Travel Institute. There you see the link for that. It's an excellent resource for those who are new to the industry, as well as those of us who are experienced and looking for more. And there are different consortia, which are just an association, a collection of travel companies, and they're all very open to speaking to new advisors and helping give direction. We certainly have that at Virtuoso, and I know others do too. On the right are some questions that come up. A number one question I'm asked when it comes to luxury travel advising is, where do you find these clients? Well, a couple of things. Chances are you don't, because they find you. That's what this referral business is all about. So you have to ask the question, what is my sphere of influence? Who do I know? Because you can start with one upscale client. And then ask the question, well, what are you offering? What companies are you keeping? What's on your website? Have you done your homework? Who is best in class? Do a spreadsheet, you know? Look at all those different cruise lines in the, in the luxury market or in the mid-price market. And here's another thing. Don't believe your clients, because they only know what they know. They don't know what they don't know. You know what they don't know. So that's where the offering options. Listen to their budget, yes, but more importantly, listen to what it is that they desire, what they want, and offer them options to obtain that. Budgets are always estimates. Get them the best for whatever their budget is. And then I think another piece here about all of this is, again, no matter where you are, if you are already in the business in particular, what is the extraordinary that you can offer at any price point? Because there is always a little extra that you can negotiate for them, or simply let them know that it even exists. Are you walking the talk? Are you traveling and blogging about life-changing travel, not just the latest deal out there? Are you attending the right kinds of meetings? Are you investing in yourself? A couple of things that come up quite often. But let me ask you this, Pam. Are there questions, as we come to the end here, are there other questions that people have that they have posted throughout the course here today?
Hi, Helen. Thank you so much for that wonderful presentation. I was able to answer a couple of very general questions as a couple of the attendees wanted to know if they can get in contact with you after and if the presentation will be available and recorded. So there was a couple of general questions like that. So we haven't had any other questions, but this is the end of your actual presentation. So I would love to take some questions. We are opening this up, and please, as a reminder, you can certainly use the questions pane on your webinar pane on the right-hand side of your screen. So I will give it just a moment to get a couple of in here. And just for my own, this might get some questions going, but I really loved how you defined or redefined what luxury is. I think that that helps, and that luxury is the customization and that deliberate practice. What great takeaways for all levels and experience levels of the travel agent or travel advisor. So thank you for that. I think it's really going to help the entry level or the new travel agents, as well as those that have been in the industry for a while that are trying to transition into that luxury market. So thank you. Yeah. We do have a couple of questions here. If you'd like to expand on those comments, feel free, but let me get a couple of questions here.
Sure.
Can one focus on one country with luxury travel?
The quick answer to that is yes. I think you can. But I also think, and I think I mentioned this earlier on, one of the reasons to focus or to specialize in an area, is that it gives you focus. And then everything else is a halo effect from that. There are certainly luxury advisors who specialize in Italy, who specialize in Southern Africa, who specialize in South America specifically, or in Mexico, and really work just the luxury market in those areas. Absolutely. But what also happens is that a client who comes to an advisor 1 year for that luxury Mexico vacation isn't going to Mexico next year. They want to go to Argentina next year. They want to go to New Zealand next year or next month. So the draw, what draws people to that advisor might be luxury Mexico. But what keeps them with that advisor is the halo effect of luxury in other countries. So it can still be a primary focus, but it can also offer great spin out from that original client. Or you can, I've also known those who strictly stick with one country or one area of the world, and that's what they do. Now, I think they have a little bit harder reach, to get to the people who just want France or just want Argentina or just want New Zealand, but it can be done. But I think the key is that specialize and allow that to be a halo effect for you.
Lovely, thank you. There's a couple of questions that may piggyback onto that particular question. I'm going to try to combine a couple, so everyone bear with me here. How do you handle clients when you have no expertise in what they want? So any tips for agents that may be specializing in a country, or any tips there?
Well, this comes up very often, and it's the proverbial question of, have you been there? And no one, not even the most seasoned of luxury advisors, has been everywhere. No one's been everywhere. So here's where confidence comes in, and here's where your network comes in. So a response to that might be, oh my gosh, that is so on my own bucket list. I haven't been there, but you know who has? My colleague X, Y, and Z, or through my network, I have people on the ground, partners with me, who are on the ground in Ethiopia, who are on the ground in Namibia, who are on the ground in Portugal. And that's who I will work with in partnership to design this. So that's where you really want to know who your colleagues are, or maybe you're able to say, oh my gosh, my colleague who lives across the who sits across the room from me here, actually just got back from Portugal. So I'm going to bring her in on this conversation. Another thing that is very effective is, again, this requires that your partners out there, is setting up conference calls, three-way conference calls. You might not know anything about Portugal, but I'll guarantee you have partners who do. And so you set up a conference call, and now you've really worked as an advisor and consultant, because you don't have to know everything. You just have to know the people who do know. And so with confidence, you can actually set that up, whether you've been there or not. No, I've never actually been to that little town, or no, I've never been to southern Portugal, but I know people who have. And here's what I suggest that we do, and away you go. But that takes confidence, and it takes a little practice as well. So,
wonderful. This may be a similar question here, but I love the way that it was phrased. Super wealthy people are different. Won't they recognize that I'm not super wealthy myself? So I think a little bit of that confidence. Anything else to expand upon that comment?
Well, here's the #1 rule of being a travel agent or travel advisor. You never, ever, ever sell from your own pocketbook. Okay? We don't make as much money, most of us, as the clients that we work with. So it is a matter of confidence, and it is a matter of really knowing your network and knowing the value that you bring as an advisor. Because I'll guarantee you, they may have more money, but they don't know more about travel than you do, or than your colleagues do, or that your network does. So that's where you really practice how it is that you phrase this. This is one of the things that we do in that course that I was telling you about, which is all new advisors. You know, how do you know these people are worth millions and millions, and that's not even close to where you are. But what you have in knowledge and creativity is what they have in money. So you're just trying to match those two things. That's why that phrase I use, you can't be, your value can't be assessed in the same way that the value of the presidential suite is. Your value lies in your values, what drives you, and the value that you bring as a well-connected, worldly connected, insider access connected advisor. Now, that's again, that's not to say that you don't maybe start traveling in some of those arenas. Maybe it's by joining the World Wildlife Fund, or being a member of the arts community, or whatever it might happen to be. But that comes with time, but it also comes with practice and being able to actually practice those answers until you're comfortable in actually, responding.
Thank you, Helen. We have a number of great questions coming in. I know we're actually a little bit over the time that we had targeted for this webinar. I do have one additional question. And for those of you that want additional answers on Virtuoso's training programs and some of their research reports that they've done, I will certainly follow up with Helen and either have her contact you directly, or I'll include it in the actual webinar follow-up that we do. So we'll do our best we can to answer all these. But we did have a question about suppliers. How do you find the best suppliers, and how do you determine if they are the right fit for you? I thought that was something a little bit different that came in. Luxury suppliers.
Right. Well, again, that's where you want to be attending the right kinds of meetings, and you want to be listening in on the webinars and so on out there. I mean, it's pretty. It wouldn't take too much research to, for instance, look at Luxury Travel Advisor, which is one of the magazines out there, or to read Condé Nast Traveler or Travel and Leisure, even Afar magazine, and so on, and start seeing who is it that's showing up here, and start doing your research. So you might want to start looking in terms of if you're a brand new advisor, or you're young out there, and a lot of your friends or a lot of your college mates or so on are in the honeymoon time frame in their lives. Start looking at what's going on out in that field, and start realizing and recognizing what the differences are. Also ask the suppliers, how do you stack up? How do you compare yourself to these people? And they'll tell you. Now, they're certainly going to give you their point of view, but you'll start recognizing what's out there. So start looking in magazines. Just pick up the Robb Report, okay, and see who's advertising in there. That'll start you down that road. But the other place that it really exists on a very practical level is with the agencies and with the consortia that you belong to. So all of them have great supplier partners out there. But look to those consortia or those agencies that already specialize in luxury. And you'll find the portfolio at your fingertips.
Lovely. One more question, Helen, and I think we're going to go ahead and wrap it up and do all additional follow-up from here. A couple of questions on how do luxury travel advisors charge for their services? Commissions, fees, any advice or trends that you're seeing?
It's usually a combination. Most do charge for their services above and beyond any commission that they might receive. The best answer, and I will say this as well, most, and I'm going to say, I'm not going to be able to give you an actual percentage, but for instance, within Virtuoso, it's a very high percentage of Virtuoso advisors from around the world who charge, especially in the U.S. and Canada, who charge a service fee or charge professional consulting advising fees. So, and that can be anywhere from, a couple $100s to, multi-$1,000 retainers, on an annual basis. So it's all across the board. But one of the most, I think one of the best ways to speak to that, well, let me back up for a second. We value what we pay for in our society. And when someone is not paying for services, they don't value it at the same level. And I know that because it's true for me. And it's probably true for those of us on the call as well. We value what we pay for. So that's in part where some of this philosophy comes from. Part also is based on, I don't have time to work with everybody. Just like an attorney or an architect, doesn't have time to work with everyone. And not everyone can afford to work with them. I can't always afford to shop in the finest boutiques on Rodeo Drive. But that doesn't mean I can't look. But I may also, when I turn the price tag over, go, gosh, I'd love to, but I'm going to have to save up for that, or I'm not going to be able to afford it. So there's that. But here's the best answer I've ever heard. I'm compensated in 3 ways. 1, I'm paid a professional commission on some of what you as a client might ultimately purchase, not unlike a designer or a financial planner. I'm also paid professionally for my services. So I have whatever that retainer fee is, or fee for service, $200, $500, $1,000, $10,000, whatever it is. But thirdly, I'm paid richly by the referrals of clients who are happy with the services that I provide and tell their friends and their colleagues who also would appreciate the level of service that I provide. So I'm paid 3 ways. I think that's one of the best ways to put it. Commissions, a professional commission on some of what we may ultimately purchase. The fee for the services that I provide. That's why you have to tell people what you do, because they can't assess the value of it. They just think it's some sort of a service fee, but they have no idea what it's for. So you have to let them know. And then the third piece is referrals.
Wonderful.
You have to practice saying it. Helen. You have to practice saying it. It won't roll off your tongue, so you have to practice it. And when you put that price tag down and say, to get us started, I'll need $500 or $250 or $1,000 to get the ball rolling here. And then you have to zip it. And don't make excuses or no, like, oh, I'm going to give you a discount, or my boss makes me do it. None of that. You have to actually practice saying it. And then they'll respond and go, oh, gosh, I've never paid for a travel advisor before. Oh, well, I understand that it hasn't always been a common practice. Let me explain to you what it is that we do and why it is that we have this X, Y, and Z, and you put it together.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Helen, for
You're welcome.
the wonderful presentation and staying online for quite a few minutes after our time to answer all these great questions. And thank you all for joining us.